Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast. I am one of your hosts, Wrestling Chris G, and on the other line with me, he is the fairy of the bunch, everybody. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, man, how you doing?
You know,
Come on, it goes with the theme this week.
I could leave.
You don't want to be the fairy, Doug? I'd be the fairy.
Some might say, never mind.
We have a great episode this week, Doug. Episode number 62.
We do? Did you watch a different episode?
This is a fantastic episode, Doug.
I must have watched the wrong episode.
It has my favorite Pokemon in it, Doug.
Well, yeah, of course that. But other than that, I think I watched a different episode.
We have another filler episode this week, everybody. And next week is the gym battle, but today's episode is called Clefairy Tales, or, translated from Japan, Pippi versus Purin. Fun.
I don't hate that one, but it's like it completely, that makes it sound like it's going to be a battle between Jigglypuff and Clefairy for 20 minutes.
Well, it kind of was.
Which I might have enjoyed.
Well, when we get into the episode, me and Jordan, we were dying watching the middle of this episode with Clefairy versus Jigglypuff because they both just gave no fucks.
They're smacking the shit out of each other.
So, all right. So how are you doing, Doug?
I'm okay.
I'm
kind of
good,
wish
too.
we were past this filler bit, but
Yeah, well, don't get too angry, Doug, because Pokemon is going to start becoming a whole lot more filler in some of the episodes coming up until we get into some major episodes. But yeah, this week is another filler. We do have two really good episodes coming up in the next few weeks, and then we have a banned episode coming up pretty soon. I mean, it was banned at one point, but ended up making its appearance later on. But we have an episode called Holiday Hijinks, which has the premiere of Jinx in Pokemon, Doug.
yeah, I'm excited about that one because there's a strong possibility that I've never seen it, but I might, if it got released later, I might have caught it on the rebound. I probably have. I mean, it's been a while since I've gone through this, so as soon as I start it, I'll be like, oh, I've seen this.
And then we have Snow Way Out.
Which, it's a couple of episodes where, I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, we kind of go backwards for a couple episodes.
We go back in time, and these episodes actually came out on the exact same Holiday Hijinks and Snow Way Out actually came out on the exact same day in Japan on October 5th of 1998. There were back-to-back episodes in Japan, and they were a week apart here, and they premiered in December, kind of breaking up our September flow. So we're literally going from it's Mr. Mime time, and then the next episode that we got here was an episode called Showdown at the Poke Corral. But we're going to be taking a step back, and yeah, it's weird. We'll get to it when we get to it, but it's a little funky with the dates.
Yeah,
that those came out. But today, Doug, we have Clefairy Tales. If you've listened to almost every episode that we've had in the past, Clefairy is not one of my more favorite Pokemon. I kind of dread reviewing Clefairy episodes, even though a lot of people love Clefairies. I don't know what it is about Clefairy. Clefairy kind of bugs me, and I don't know why, Doug. And so I'm glad you're a little bit more high on Clefairy than I am.
I think you just have a bug up your butt.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Well, can you take it out?
Listen, buddy, what you do want to in the privacy of your own
You
home
brought it up. You
on your
brought it up.
Tuesday nights is not my business. I mean, that's.
Well, you're the one that said that I got a bug up my butt. I didn't even know it was there.
I didn't. I didn't.
Well,
I mean, I've seen what's at your. So maybe.
Anyway, so this episode premiered in Japan September 10th, 1998. And here in the States premieres. Shut up. Shut up, Doug. We're getting past that. So, as I said, in Japan premiered September 10th, 1998. And here in the States, over a year later, September 25th, 1999. And Doug, you have me beat this week because mine was in 1965. When was yours, Doug?
So on this date, September 25th of 1789.
What the fuck? Okay.
The United States Bill of Rights is created.
Get out.
If I'm lying, I'm flying, and my feet ain't left the ground.
All right. Well.
So if y'all remember from, I don't know, 5th grade history.
Nope.
No.
I'm joking. Yes, I remember.
But I don't know. I don't know when we. I don't remember when we covered this specifically. But the Bill of Rights is comprised of the first 10 amendments of the United States Constitution. Obviously, the First Amendment is, free speech, and the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms. Right to a speedy trial, yada, 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 and so on. Just out of curiosity, I kind of did a quick click on some of these, and like I say, I got the first couple, but you get down to 6 and 7, I'm going, all right, that sounds good. I think the Bill of Rights is something that, we know of as Americans.
Yes.
But unless you study history or you really gave a shit about history,
which I did not.
I'm aware of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, but it's not something I'm not gonna fucking, pull my shirt up and have the fucking Bill of Rights on my back or anything.
Oh, why not, Doug?
Oh, I just don't have the time.
You party pooper.
Well, So yeah, a Bill of Rights is significant. Just out of curiosity, since I mentioned the Constitution, I wanted to look up, and I just wanted to ask you a simple question with no bullshit, no expectations. I just wanted to know what your first guess would be. How many amendments are there to the Constitution?
How many amendments are there? I don't know. Wasn't it 25 or 27?
Oh, yeah, 27.
Okay, there you go. Yes, okay, I'm right. 2027, Doug.
And since you got that one, and since you're on such a roll.
Oh, geez.
When was the last amendment made to the Constitution?
You got me there.
The
What's
answer might shock you.
okay? When?
1992.
Get out. So
Uh,
I was 2 years old.
unless that's an 8. No, it's a 9. 1992.
Oh, okay. Well, I got one of the two questions right. I love your quizzes, Doug.
I mean, I feel like we owe it to the people to say more than this thing happened to move on. I mean, even if, we kind of got to do a little bit of tap dancing, a little bit of bullshit, and I feel like, you know, we want these episodes to at least be an hour,
Yes.
you know, because I feel like if we both just gave like 2 sentences on our history, these episodes would be over in like 45 minutes.
100%, Doug. 100%. But yeah, thank you on that. Mine's a little bit more simpler, Doug.
I'm
My
sick.
Mine happened in 1965, and everybody knows the band The Beatles. Well, did you know that the Beatles had a cartoon show, Doug? The Beatles cartoon premiered in the US on this day in 1965 and ran for 3 seasons, 3 years. And the episodes, let's see, lasted a whopping 39 episodes, with the last season only having 6 episodes. So,
I can't believe I didn't think to ask you this.
what's that?
What network was it on?
That's a good question. Give me one. It was on ABC.
It was on ABC. Okay.
Yes. So it was a Saturday morning cartoon as well, Doug. So that was good to know. It lasted for 3 years and 3 seasons and only 39 episodes. So a lot of reruns, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the Beatles could kind of do anything there for a while. At one point they said they were bigger than Jesus, and there wasn't that much of blowback. Um, they were kind of untouchable there.
They were. And it's funny though. This show, when I was talking to you before, I'm doing a little bit more digging right now. I did not know that this show was syndicated, but this show was syndicated on both MTV and the Disney Channel. MTV, it was syndicated in 1986 and 1987, and it was syndicated on Fridays at 5 p.m. on the Disney Channel in 1989.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this was when Disney, I guess, was trying to find their footing on their Disney Channel, just kind of similar to Nickelodeon. I actually watched a Nickelodeon documentary that just came out, I would guess, last year in 2020. And Nickelodeon at first had a hard time finding certain things to air on their TV or what audience to have. And it looks like Disney was kind of in the same boat until they got everything under their footing.
Well, and I'm sure you remember this. Disney, when it first hit the airwaves, was in the same boat as like an HBO. Like it was a premium channel.
Yes, it
So
was.
like you had to like call your cable provider. Remember cable providers?
Yes.
Um,
And
and you
demand
had
that you get
you, and
Disney.
then every once in a while they would say, "Oh, here's a free preview weekend," and the channel would be unlocked on your set, and you I can watch all, and you're watching whatever was on at the time, and you're like, "This is great," and you'd ask your parents, "Can we get this?" No, we can't get this. Oh shit, you know.
My dad would have been like, okay, fine. I remember there was one channel. What was it called? It was
Cinemax.
Oh, shut up. No, it was called Noggin. It was a Nickelodeon channel that I wanted so bad, and I wanted it, and we didn't have it at first because it was only on Dish Network, but we had Direct TV.
Yeah.
And it was no, it was on Comcast and Dish, and we had Direct TV. And I begged my dad so much to the point where he switched over to Dish to give me that channel, and then I barely watched it, and he switched us.
You little, you little shit.
But no, I watched it for a while. I watched shows like Ghost Rider and the reinvention of the show Ghost Rider. I watched a few other of their early shows, and that's actually where I first saw the show Degrassi when it first came on. But that's what kind of hooked me to Noggin. But outside of that, I didn't really watch too much more.
So there's another guy who looks like me.
Drake does not look like me.
Hey, at least you got that one.
So, but but yeah, that was that. That's my whole take with the Beatles, and I am now loading up the episode that we're getting ready to review. Doug, are you ready to review the Clefairy tales?
I am ready, and maybe you could tell me what I missed in this episode that makes it so wonderful, other than the freaking slap fight.
Absolutely nothing. It's it's a weird one. This is a weird episode, everybody. So we start this week at night, just like any other Clefairy episode. It starts at night, and you see Jigglypuff just walking and singing her joyful little song. Jigglypuff is singing in the forest, and as she is singing, Pokemon are falling behind her, and we see uh, Caterpie and a Pidgey fall out of the tree.
Fall out of the tree, and Jigglypuff has enough presence of mind to turn around because I'm assuming they hear the thumps, and she goes, "Why does this keep happening?" She does the puff up, and she draws on him, and she's walking away in a huff, and um,
And out of nowhere, a kettle falls from the sky, and after she draws on Pidgey and Caterpie, it bonks Jigglypuff right in the head. Jigglypuff looks like she wants to cry as she's rubbing her head, and then she's looking around. She's like, "What the hell just happened?"
yeah, what the
And
hell just hit me?
and she sees what looks like a spaceship in the far distance falling out of the sky and then crashing. And there's a loud explosion. And Jigglypuff wants to know what this was and starts running over by it. And to her belief, it looks like a spaceship.
And she's awestruck. Do we know that it's a she?
I'm gonna say that Jigglypuff is a she. I believe this Jigglypuff is indeed a she.
And then looking on in amazement, the hatch of the ship opens, and we see the outline of these creatures, and she's kind of taken aback, and then lights are shown in, and we see it's a horde of Clefairies, and Jigglypuff is shocked. And
Yes.
then we get the title sequence, and in that whole title sequence, the only thing we heard in English, well, yeah, I mean, you know what I mean, was the title sequence.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, there was no human words,
Oh, gotcha.
which is it's a rarity
That we
on
don't
this
get in the
show.
beginning of the episode.
Right. I mean, I can't tell you the last because it's happened before, but I can't tell you the last time that an episode didn't start with the three of them.
But then after we get the title sequence that says Clefairy Tales, we get the opening sequence with the narrator saying that Ash is on his way to getting his 8th badge from Viridian City, but he is most determined to get this badge. And then we get a
If he
close
was
up of
so damn determined, he wouldn't have gotten sidetracked last week.
it for real. And this week.
And this week. Fair enough.
And Ash is over here eating he has 2 ice cream cones. He has a vanilla in one hand and he has a chocolate and strawberry one in the other hand. And he is just licking this ice cream, just being a pig. And Misty and Brock both have vanilla ice cream cones. Oh, and so does Pikachu. And poor little Togepi is over here looking at Misty. Misty's not paying Togepi no mind. Togepi's like, I want some ice cream. Give me some ice cream.
Babies shouldn't have ice cream. Too much sugar.
But she looks down, sees Togepi wants ice cream, and finally lets Togepi lick the vanilla ice cream. And she's like, do you like it? I bet you do. And Ash is like, I love it. Let's get more. This is good. Oh yeah. And he's like, and they had enough nerve to put in the subtitles slurping, like he's slurping his ice cream.
Ew. And you know what? Misty shouldn't throw shade because what was it during the Princess Day? She was sitting there housing some ice cream, and then before that even, because the buffet owner likes Psyduck, and she had a Psyduck, so she's just sitting there housing ice cream because the buffet owner's going gaga over the Psyduck. So she has no room to talk about being gluttonous when it comes to ice cream or food in general.
Yeah, for real. And all right, so this next scene has Misty looking over her shoulder, and she sees a Clefairy.
Just walks up to him, and she's kind of stunned.
Clefairy's a rare Pokemon.
Yeah, we're led to believe that, even though players of the game, you get a Clefairy within like the first 2 towns.
Well, you get Clefairy in Mount Moon, but Clefairy, like the odds that you actually run into a Clefairy in the game is a lot less common than you running into a damn Zubat inside of that damn cave.
Wow.
I hate Zubats in Pokemon Red and Blue. I hated them with a passion.
With a passion.
Yes, with a passion. So
Misty says, well, I can distract this this Clefairy with this ice cream, and I'm going to catch it, which is bullshit.
Why is that bullshit?
Because it's wrong. But Clefairy is on to Misty's tricks right away and just starts fucking bounding away. And she just takes off, just leaves Togepi on the table. And because Pikachu has the presence of mind to go, oh, some shit's about to go down. I better get up. But Togepi's just a baby. So it's just sitting there going, where the hell did the ice cream go? So at least Brock has the presence of mind to go, oh, somebody should probably pick up Togepi.
Yes.
And, they go running after it. But they forget their backpacks and, of course, the ice cream. And we don't we're led to believe that the Clefairy has gotten away. And when our heroes arrive back at the table, Brock notices that the backpacks are gone, and Ash is completely torn to pieces about the ice cream being gone.
Yes, his ice cream that would have melted anyway because it looks like it's hot outside. Like what did he expect? It looks like they were gone for a long time.
So, and then Misty's like, well, you forget about the ice cream. We can always get more ice cream, but we need to figure out what happened to our backpacks. And Ash goes, can we get Peach? And then we cut to this long line outside the police station, and we find out that bunch of random items have been stolen from pretty much everybody in town.
Yes.
We have a chef is missing his pot and his chicken.
A baby is missing his bottle, which why is that? Well, I can't make assumptions, but a baby should have more than one bottle.
Well, and then
Maybe it was the favorite bottle, but a
well,
baby.
I mean, she does say my baby's missing its favorite bottle, her favorite his or her favorite bottle.
Yes,
And then a
and
baseball player is crying over his bat,
his
which again he
lucky
should have
bat.
more than one bat.
It's his lucky bat.
Ah, to hell with it.
He says he cannot hit a home run without his lucky bat.
That's just superstition.
And Officer Jenny is like, now, people, we've got to keep our cool here. The buttons on my coat are gone too. Someone stole the candles for off my birthday cake.
So it's a lot of random shit, and poor Officer Jenny is completely over her head.
Yes.
And then everybody walks up, and Ash goes, "Gee, I wonder why it's so crowded." Misty correctly surmises it looks like everybody else got robbed too. And oh,
This weirdo walks up to them and is like, "It was alien." Eh,
and he's got a thick German accent, but we're not going to do that because we get in trouble doing accents.
no, we don't.
Right. Um,
Go ahead, do your accent, Doug.
no, I'm good. Um, if they want to hear anybody doing accents, they can go back and find your old stuff.
It's been taken down.
No, it's still there. We just don't remember what it was, so we can't point anybody to it.
But they're like, "Excuse me, who are you?" And he said, "Someone who uncovers the truth, because the power that be don't want you to know about Earth's visitors from outer space." And he's like, "For the truth, look into the skies, and to me, Oswald."
Name is Oswald, and it's a good name to have in his accent. Let me just tell you. Um, and they're like, sure, and um, then because this idiot's causing a scene, a crowd starts to form around him, and goddamn,
You lost your place, Doug?
a little bit.
All right. So,
Well, no, Ash has a good line. He goes, "Why do these guys always find us?"
and everyone is looking at him, and he starts to explain that there are extraterrestrials in the area. And Missy's like, "That's silly. Everybody knows that UFOs don't really exist." He's like, "But I have positive evidence. Here, look at this." And he hands him a pamphlet. And he's like, "You see, this scrapbook is full of photos, eyewitnesses, and lots of other conclusive proof that spaceships exist."
And the chef is looking at the book, and he goes, "I think I've seen this before." He's pointing at a picture of a flying saucer, and the scientist grabs him. He goes, "Where have you seen it?" And
He asked him if he beamed him up before.
"Have you been via?" He's like, "Outside of town."
But he's like, "Yeah, this was just right outside of town near the edge of the forest." He's like, "Did you see extraterrestrials?" He's like, "No, Mr. Oswald, take it easy." Sorry, I got carried away. And and Officer Jenny is not one to believe in any of this whole entire episode. So she's like, "Do you really believe that aliens or extraterrestrials really stole all these 3 nights ago?" And everybody is looking at her, and he's like, "You mean that space aliens might be real?" And then this little cuckoo Oswald has an alien, like a little tiny alien device that is supposed to detect aliens. Doug, why don't you take this next funny scene?
Yeah. So he pulls out this little, pardon me, he pulls out this device and it's going off because of course it is. And and everyone's looking around going, I don't see any flying saucers. And then, they look and lo and behold, a friggin' flying saucer just plunks down in the middle of the damn street and out come these two gray aliens and they're saying something, but it's not coming through on it just says chanting.
All right, so yes, they're looking down at this flying saucer, and the flying saucer goes from yellow to blue. So it's this big blue, uh, big
Well, no,
blue.
the yellow was the lights underneath.
Well, yes, and once it turns blue, everything opens up, and you see these two tall, stereotypical aliens from the inside. And these aliens are going, they're like, clatter, 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 clatter. And Ash is like, whoa, those are real aliens. And Pikachu's like, Pika? And these aliens run over and they're like, clatter, 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 clatter. And they take freaking Pikachu and they walk back over into the space module. Ash is stunned. He doesn't even move the entire time. And they're like, clatter, 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 clatter. And then the space shuttle turns completely yellow again and then goes right back up into space. And they're all stunned. And the Oswald is like, wait a minute, come back. And Ash is like, yeah, you got my Pikachu. Bring it back. And like he was, did they really not think of what was going on this whole time, Doug?
No, it was like some big fever dream. Like nobody, like just they plunk down right in the middle of Main Street, pluck Pikachu up, and nobody said boo to a goose. I mean, it was just. And then Ash is like, oh shit, they have my Pikachu, and then then we're inside the spaceship,
Yes.
and the aliens have Pikachu under a dome, and they approach, and they remove their heads, and who would have guessed?
It's Team Rocket. Oh Jesus, Team Rocket. And they're like, who knew this would be so easy? It puts a whole new twist on alien abduction. And they ask Pikachu, how do you like your new private Pikachu space capsule? And Pikachu's trying to break out of it by thunder shocking it, but it's doing nothing but charging the little light bulb that's right above it because Pikachu's not strong enough to get out of this little capsule yet.
Well, the capsule does not conduct electricity.
Yes.
And then we zoom out and we find out that this spacecraft is being held up by a crane with Meowth in the driver's seat. Apparently, it's a very weak crane because a Pidgeotto is just able to break it.
Yes, because Ash is like, that's not a flying saucer. Pidgeotto, go cut that cane crane. And as soon as he cuts it, they seem like they're floating. So James and Jesse are like, are we really in space? We're floating. But they're just falling down and then they crash. And I felt bad for Pikachu because Pikachu should have been a lot more injured in this instance than it was.
Yeah, I mean, for goodness sakes, we see poor Team Rocket has been knocked for a complete loop.
Yes.
And of all people, they should be used to falling from great heights.
How are they not dead yet?
Well,
It's a kid show.
It's a kid show, exactly.
So the Mr. Oswald looks out as Team Rocket is taking off their alien outfits, and he's like, "They're not aliens." And then Jesse and James start doing their motto, of course. And Doug,
So they they go from being half dead to being alive enough to do their freaking
it's like
whole performance.
nothing ever happened.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like it's a cartoon or something.
I know.
Um, they do it, and they actually get it out, and well, actually, they don't. They get up to the point where Meowth's supposed to jump out, but we get Clefairy, and Clefairy's just standing in the middle, and the guy's device is going nuts. He goes, Clefairy's an alien.
Yes.
And then Jigglypuff stands up, and it's going crazy. Jigglypuff's an alien, and Jigglypuff is confused.
And not only is Jigglypuff confused, but he looks over at Misty, and it's going off, and Misty's like, "Oh, it's indicating that you're an alien too."
Misty goes, "That thing is spacier than you are."
And she whips it out of Oswald's hand, and it falls onto the ground, and you have steam coming from it, indicating that it is now broken.
And he goes, "I'll never be able to find the comic book that I bought this from."
You broke my scanner. So he's all looking around. Team Rocket is like, I hate people who have to be the center of attention. Ba-bum.
Which, yeah, would have been a perfect explanation for them last week when they hijacked that performance.
Yes. So, let's see. Meowth comes falling down or coming down from a cord on the crane, and he's like, while he's going ballistic, we can grab Pikachu.
And speaking of Pikachu, Clefairy goes bouncing away with Pikachu still in the capsule, and Clefairy turns around and does a circular motion with its hand, and an invisible wall pops up, and Team Rocket just gets smashed.
Yes.
And Jigglypuff is leading the charge to find where this Clefairy is going, and they chase it to a locked door.
Yes, and
in an alley.
Yes, they go into an alley, and it's a dead end. And Jigglypuff walks up, and they're like, "Where could it have been an alien?" And Jigglypuff notices a sewer.
Manhole cover. Yeah.
And they're like, "Could it have gone down here? That's pretty deep." And Brock's like, "I can't even see the bottom." But Ash is determined to get Pikachu back. So Jigglypuff jumps down because Jigglypuff wants to figure out what's going on. Ash, of course, jumps down, and I mean they can't show this these days because things on TV, you can't do anything that you can reenact. And having a bunch of children jumping into an uncovered sewer is just all sorts of dangerous. But they all jump in, Doug.
And then, I don't know if this is an accurate time for a break, but it's what we got.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Arcanine.
Because as everybody was looking, everybody's falling into the abyss, and they say, "Oh, this is a perfect time for a commercial." And then we get Arcanine, which, as you pointed out, we're on this weird stretch where the Who's That Pokemon pertains to next week. So
yes,
we're gonna see an Arcanine next week. And we come back and we see an outside shot of the pipe, and we hear our heroes falling down each and every turn. And Jigglypuff gets popped out first, followed by the humanity. and at least poor Togepi had the presence of mind to protect itself.
I felt in that I'm glad you said that, Doug, because I want to point out that Togepi has no Pokeball.
No.
Togepi has not been caught yet. Togepi is still
Well,
Togepi is still a wild Pokemon.
no, it isn't either.
It is too.
It is not.
If it has not been caught, it's a
It
wild
has
Pokemon.
imprinted on Misty. It is as good as caught.
Still,
It is not wild. It is hatched.
If Togepi was was caught, Misty could have put it back in its Pokeball before going down into these pipes where it's dinging around and possibly shaking up Togepi. She is such a bad mother in this.
She's horrible. I mean,
but she's 10 years old.
Togepi almost fell in a pool last week. Almost fell off a cliff into a volcano a couple weeks ago. Horrible.
Yes. So,
once everybody recovers from the tumble down the sewers, they get their bearings and they see looks like the beginnings of another space module, and the scientist is thoroughly impressed.
Yes. And it's at this point now that they see all of these Clefairies with a bunch of different items. We see them with a tennis racket, a golf club, a boom box, and they're all walking this over to what looks like a spaceship. And Brock is like, so that's where everything that's been taken in the city is going. They're taking it and using it as parts on their rocket.
And they look over, and the Clefairy that they were chasing still has Pikachu in the case, and it looks like Pikachu is either asleep or unconscious.
Yes.
And Ash says, well, they're not going to take my Pikachu into space. And then we see a countdown clock is lowered down, and we see that the seconds are ticking down, and Jigglypuff takes off towards the ship. Ash follows Jigglypuff. Misty follows Ash. Brock. And then the scientist kind of has a moment to think to himself. And he's like, screw it. I'm going too.
If they're going to space, I'm going with them. Universe, here I come. And then we get Team Rocket. And they're like, this is like, let's see. He's like, what were you thinking that I was thinking, James? Is basically, he's like, what if we brought the boss back Pikachu plus an entire spaceship full of Clefairy? And James is like, that's amazing. You must have read my mind, Jess. Because, of course, that's what James was thinking. And he's like, or did I read your mind? Because he was thinking of it first.
And then Meowth's like, this thing's about to go. Let's make up our minds after we've stolen what we need to steal. And they head off towards the spaceship as well. And then we see gears are turning because we're in the ship, and we see kind of that this is kind of put together kind of slapdash.
Yes.
And because it is basically just a bunch of Clefairy, I mean, at the end of the day. And they're walking down the corridors, and then they see Pikachu in its tube, and they run towards it.
No, it's in a different tube now, Doug.
Well, a tube, it's a tube.
Yes.
And then a bunch of Clefairy jump down from the ceiling, Mission Impossible style, and form like a Clefairy chain around the tube, and they're not allowing Ash to pass. But then
Ash is begging at this point. He's like, can you please give me back my Pikachu? And Clefairy nicely and smiles at Ash and goes, no. And Ash is like, but that Pikachu is not just a Pokemon, it's my friends. Won't you? And here comes Jigglypuff, and this is when shit gets funny.
Yeah, because Jigglypuff has no time for your sentimentality. and walks right under Ash and walks right up to the Clefairy in the center and basically asks the Clefairy, "What did the five fingers say to the face?" Just a smack, and Clefairy is stunned, but it smacks Jigglypuff right back, and Jigglypuff rolls back towards Ash, and then gets up, and it's like, "Oh, it's on now." Basically, takes its earrings out and walks up to that same Clefairy and just and just takes out that one, and
It starts using double slap on freaking Clefairy, just bap, 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 bap. And Ash is like, whoa, that's Jigglypuff's double slap. And Togepi is just laughing at it. And the Clefairies are looking at over at the Clefairy that just got slapped, and they're like, uh-oh. And then they're like, okay, we can't let this Jigglypuff boss us around. So they all jump in to freaking start beating up Jigglypuff, and Jigglypuff just starts going ham and just goes jiggly, 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 smack, 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 and just starts smacking all these Clefairy around, making me the happiest man alive watching this. And Ash and Misty are just like, that's real cute. And Mr. Oswald, he's like, we're witnessing an alien grudge match. Doug?
and basically Jigglypuff is the last creature standing, and just straight up just looking like Walter on these motherfuckers, and just walks off because doesn't care, just has done what it came to do, and Oswald goes and follows Jigglypuff, and Ash is sitting there, he's dumbstruck, and then he remembers what he's there to do, and he goes up to the tube, but he can't break it, and can't wake Pikachu up. And then we go into the command center, and we see a single Clefairy sitting there, and Jigglypuff's like, "Hey, bitch!" And the Clefairy's like, "Oh, you're not getting past this yet." And we have another stare down, and I mean, it's like straight up like Dirty Harry, and it's just, and then Clefairy just launches a freaking headbutt at Jigglypuff, and Jigglypuff goes rolling back, and then sits up and gets right back in Clefairy's face. He does a double smack and knocks Clefairy back towards the chair, and Clefairy stands up and starts double smacking Jigglypuff, and Jigglypuff goes rolling back towards the instruments again. Jigglypuff gets up and does its double smack, and it's back and forth, and it's just and it's just it's fast and furious, and and then there's a stare down, and it's like Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18, and freaking Oswald is just, he's in awe because he's at the controls, like, this is some neat shit, and then he fucking breaks the joystick. He's like, "Oh, I can fix it."
And then Jigglypuff looks at it, and it looks like a damn microphone. So Jigglypuff is like, "I'll take that."
Mushroom stomps his head and starts doing the Jigglypuff song, and the song is coming through the speakers, and Misty goes, "That's Jigglypuff's song, isn't it?" And Ash goes, "That's a song I always get tired of." It just passes out, and you get a nice little scene of Togepi rocking in its egg as it's, folded in on itself like it was when it fell out of the pipe, and Jigglypuff's just singing, and then wakes up and then goes, "Oh shit," and then pulls out its marker and draws on Clefairy and Oswald, and the countdown is out at this point, and the a little compartment opens in Pikachu's tube, and like a little hammer bonks Pikachu in the nose
while Pikachu is sleeping. And I'd be mad too if I was Pikachu, and Pikachu just gets hit right in the nose and just goes bah, and starts electrocuting everything, which ends up sending electricity around the entire ship, and turns the ship on. And then Pikachu has so much power that the ship starts rotating out of the cave of which it's in, and Pikachu and Jesse, James, and Meowth, they're all waking up from Jigglypuff's song. And I love Meowth's line. He's like, "Was I at an all-you-can-eat catnip buffet?"
And then we see that Brock is in front of the police station trying to convince Officer Jenny of what he just saw, but obviously Officer Jenny doesn't have time for his bullshit. And then the freaking ground opens up, and
out of nowhere.
And this spaceship comes out, and with the spaceship comes a bunch of random junk, aka the baby bottle, the bat, the chicken with the pot.
Yes.
And the freaking the spaceship is heading towards this one building, and it uses the building as like a ramp up into the air, and the capsule and the little shuttle break off from each other, and Team Rocket is standing.
They're on the wrong side of the ship, so it's like it's like an actual spaceship, because when a spaceship goes up, it detaches from the initial exhaust and breaks off, and they're on the wrong side.
So basically, they're standing at an open door because Team Rocket was prepared to knock down the door to like force their way out.
Yes.
And they just about hang on because they almost go straight off the edge, and they're basically staring out the end of this plane as they're in the shuttle going back down to Earth. And meanwhile, Pikachu has blasted its way out of the capsule, and God damn it, what does Misty say? Son of a bitch.
Oh, when she's, because Misty's like, Ash is first like, I wonder how Pikachu was able to get out of this capsule, and Misty is like, Pikachu's electric attack must have been too powerful for it and broke it. And Ash is like a balloon because there's too much air inside. And then they see their backpacks, so they go and run over to the backpacks, and they're getting ready to abandon ship. Clefairy's
Clefairy and Oswald are still out, and we see the command center is starting to fry.
Yes. And the spaceship is waddling through the town that it's in. We don't even know what town Ash and them are in. But it's at this time, Ash looks out and opens the door, and they're like, whoa, that's a really big drop. And Misty's like, Ash, look, there's a skyscraper right over there. And he's like, let's use that.
Such horseshit.
And he takes Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur uses Vine Whip and goes around the skyscraper, and they all hold on to Bulbasaur, and they fly out. And then they end up on top of this building. Ash lands all sorts of messed up, and then Bulbasaur just lands on top of him. Ash should be knocked out from that fall because he landed right on his face. Pikachu and Misty land on their feet because Misty has freaking Togepi in her hand. Like, such a bad mom. Like, put Togepi in the damn Pokeball.
Forget about that. How fucking strong is this Bulbasaur?
Well, I mean, we saw that at the Mysterious Garden episode.
That's horseshit.
Bulbasaur just doesn't want to evolve.
Well, by this rate, he probably should be a Venusaur.
So, and then it's at this point that we see the spaceship is still taking off somehow a little higher into the sky, and then we get the normal twinkle in the sky, like as if Team Rocket has blasted off again. And then we go back down to...
Well, no, Team Rocket was in the goddamn...
No, I know. I said they that the spaceship gets that little twinkle star.
Gotcha.
Yes. Gotcha. So Ash and Misty are like, where do you think they're headed for, Misty? And Misty's she's like, for a great big adventure. And Pikachu,
shit.
I know. And Ash's like, I think you're right. And then we go to this random campsite, and there's a big crash. And all these people are like, what was that? We just heard something. And they walk over to the spaceship, and the spaceship opens up, and Oswald is so delirious. He has on all
He's in a cardboard box with a pot on his head.
Yes.
And he goes, "Is this the land of the Clefairy?"
Because he can't see because he's delirious. And all these trainers are like, oh my gosh, it's an alien. Run. So they all run away. And then the Clefairy jump out of the spaceship one last time. And it's like this is a never ending thing. And the Clefairy are now taking all of the campsiders stuff to go and fix their ship. And all the camp people are like, hey, leave our stuff alone.
Hey, that's my poll, you know.
And then we come back to Officer Jenny. Doug, you want to end this episode?
So basically, the townspeople are seeing off Ash and the gang, thanking them for finding everybody's stuff. And Officer Jenny says, on behalf of everyone, we'd like to thank you. And Ash is like, oh, golly gee. And, you know, we're glad you got everything back. And they're waving goodbye to the entire town. You know, they're conquering heroes. And the narrator's like, we know there's still stuff to do. Don't worry. We haven't forgotten the last 2 weeks, even though I feel like you have. And then they're walking off in the distance, and then we see the Jigglypuff is following not far behind.
Yes. And that is how we end this week's episode. And we are done with the filler episodes, Doug, for at least for a couple
weeks, yeah.
Because next week we have our gym battle. So I can't wait for that. But man, I don't know what it is about Clefairy episodes. Like I dread them getting ready to review them. And then always at the end of a Clefairy episode, I end up enjoying the episode. But Doug, what do you give this episode on your good old Dougie meter?
Yeah, it's probably like a 1.5. I mean, I just, you know, you know what? No, I mean, what did I gave last week a 2.
Yeah, you gave last week a 2.
I'll give this week a 2.5, and it's for the Jigglypuff and the Clefairy fight, especially in the ship where they were literally just going back and forth,
just bitch slapping the mess out of each other.
if you wanted a preview of Dragunov versus Walter at Takeover, that's it.
So, all right. Well, that was this week's episode. So we actually finished this today's review in less than an hour, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, it's because we caught a couple of good spurts on the fights where it was all basically going breakneck speed, where we really didn't have a chance to sit down and digest them.
Yep.
And you know, there was a lot of falling, and there's a lot of motion, a lot of running. Like they were running after Clefairy as it was bounding away, and so there was a literal timer above their heads when they were in the spaceship.
So we knew what was coming up.
So there's a lot of movement.
So outside of that, yeah, I'm gonna give this week's episode about a 2.5. I'll give it a 2.5. I like this one just a little bit more than last week's episode, only because of the Clefairy sitting there bit slapping the mess out of each other. But outside of that, yeah, I'm going to give this episode about a 2.5. So you have anything else to add this week, Doug?
No, I can't wait till next week when we get some shit of substance.
Yes, we do. So next week's episode is called The Battle of the Badge, or translated from Japanese, Takawa Gym, The Last Badge. Oh,
gee, I wonder.
It's the Earth Badge time, Doug. So yeah, we have that coming up next week. All right, everybody, and it's the end of the show, and you know what that means, Doug.
Dinner time.
Well, maybe, but no. It is pack opening time, and I have another Chilling Reign booster pack right here in front of me. and it's time to go over these cards. So I'm gonna stick to your thing that you said last week and not call out what I'm looking for.
Right.
So let's go ahead and open this up. All right, here. Top 4 cards, put them at the bottom. Dougie Man, what energy is going to be the first energy that I'm going to look at?
Gonna go with Lucky Energy.
Lucky, well, okay. Let's not let's go with a regular because a lucky energy would be a trainer card. So
Oh, motherfucker! You pulled it before.
I know that it's a trainer card, but let's go with a regular type of energy like a grass, lightning, fire, water,
Electric.
electric. And
Swear to God, if you pull a Lucky, I'm gonna fucking leave this fucking
well, it's definitely not. So I got a water energy this week, everybody. And under this, I have a Carlia. Okay. I got a fog crystal. I have a Brawly. A snowy form, cast form. Okay, I have one of these. A Hotena, an Aeron, a Routes, a Venipede, and I have a reverse hollow Lariat. Or Lyron. I'm sorry, everybody. I mispronounced that Pokemon. And then what is right behind? I have a hollow Gardevoir. Okay. For what I'm looking for, it's not exactly what I'm looking for, but I did actually get a regular hollow as the last card. So you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not the best pull, but it's not the worst because I actually got a hollow. So this is not bad. This is not bad at all, Doug.
No, it doesn't seem like you could complain too much.
No, absolutely not. So this is a really nice card. Out of these from the past few weeks, outside of the Calyrex that I pulled, I would say that this Score Bunny is probably the nicest one that I have actually pulled out of all of these so far. I mean, I really like this reverse hollow Score Bunny. This is a really nice Score Bunny, but but this Gardevoir is really nice too. So those are my pack. That's my pack this week, Doug. And
there you go.
The hunt for Snorlax. Will I ever get this Snorlax, Doug?
Well, not if you keep putting it out there.
I know.
Jinx yourself.
Follow us at Every Pokemon Podcast on Instagram if you want to take a look at these Pokemon cards. Make sure you do that. Make sure you follow us at Poke Breakdown on Twitter. And if you want to help us out and follow us on Patreon, and you want to listen to all of our episodes ad-free, everybody, you can go ahead and go to patreon.com/everypokemon.
Yeah, on the topic of card pulls, you recently had a comment on, I believe it was Instagram.
Oh, yes.
And we were going to shout out this guy, nothing more than his name. We're not going to throw his handle out there.
Yes.
We did want to give this fan a quick shout out.
Yes. Lucas, if you are listening to this episode, we're going to give you a nice little shout out. Thank you for reaching out to us at Every Pokemon episode on Instagram. He messaged us, thinks our polls are great, recommends us to anybody that wants to look at our Pokemon cards and our collection. And the collection just keeps growing. So I want to go ahead and thank you, Lucas, for reaching out to us. And I try to answer as many messages as I can, but sometimes it's a little hard. But I do try. So if you want to shoot over a message or like any of our photos, go ahead and do so. Thank you for that, Doug. Anything else?
No, I think that was it. I think we've covered our bases this week.
All right. Well, then say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you thank you for listening to this week's episode and getting through this filler, because next week we have a gym battle, everybody. So don't miss next week's episode. It's called The Battle of the Badge. Have a good night, everyone.